Jillian, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer did not waste any time warning that Democrats are going to hold the DOJ accountable and make sure they don't scrub any evidence.
We know there's a corrupt Justice Department. We know that Bondi and Kash Patel do just what the president asks and wants. And we Democrats are going to do everything we can to make sure all of it comes to light, and they don't hide evidence against anyone who might be incriminated by these documents.
Jillian, it is Democrats under fire right now. House Oversight Chair James Comer claims that Epstein was invited to a Democratic fundraiser back in 2013 to get to know Hakeem Jeffries. He cited an email that was inviting the sex offender to this event. Also, Larry Summers is keeping it low, laying low after emails to Epstein came out about him. President Trump urging a DOJ probe into Epstein's bank ties. House Oversight Republicans are set to follow suit. Meanwhile, last night, the House voted down a censure of Delegate Stacey Plaskett after she texted Epstein during a 2019 hearing attacking Trump. Congressman Jamie Raskin tried to defend her, calling Epstein a constituent, while Plaskett snapped at accusations that she was coached.
I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody from any individual. I have been a lawyer for 30 years. I have sought information from confidential informants, from murderers, from other individuals, because I want the truth.
Jillian, at this point, we don't have a confirmation yet on when exactly the president will sign this bill. We expect as early as today.
Guess what, Dan? Guess what? Guess what, Dan? Hey. Woo, woo! Why can't I delete 30,000 emails?
Because you'd be in jail.
Why can't I sell to Russia some yellow cake?
Because you'd be in jail.
Why can't I have a body count above 230?
Because you'd be in jail.
I can't launder money through my charity.
Because you'd be in jail.
But guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day? What day? It is. It's hump day. Get it on.
What difference at this point does it make?
Difference at this point does it make? It's art. I'm gonna stop lavishing praise on our meme makers here at the program. I do it every day and it takes up valuable time, but I just gotta tell you, we're the only show on earth that is going to make you a custom meme every hump day and really every weekday on this program. It's our great meme maker Jerry, who is an artiste. And if there's one good, there's a lot of bad, there's a lot of downsides to AI. But if there's one good side to AI, it is that this is becoming cinematic. Hollywood can't compete with us. Hollywood is dead. And The Benny Show is part of what killed it because our memes are worthy of Academy Awards. And Jerry, I will fight with everything in my body and everything in my bones to make sure that there's an Academy Award category for you someday. And what would the name of that be, Klein? What would it be? Official meme making shitposter Academy Award. Yeah, that would be it. That would be it. So congratulations, Jerry. We look forward to your speech when you're holding your little golden god. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is Hump Day. It is Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. House and Senate passed bill to release all Epstein files, and as Democrats have swung as hard as they possibly can on Epstein to hit Donald Trump, they've actually knocked their own ball sack back up into their body. It really hurts. The boomerang, ladies and gentlemen, is severe, and it is hitting hard the Clintons right now. Something that is despicable happened on the House floor to protect Democrats who are getting advice from pedophiles and working with pedophiles. We're going to play you the clips and the commentary around this. House Republicans cut a deal to protect Stacey Plaskett, and they did so in the dirtiest possible way. It is why people blackpill on politics. It is enraging to me. We're going to cover all of it today on the show. James Comer vows to give the Clintons the Bannon treatment. That would be, of course, referring them for DOJ prosecution and putting them in prison. Scott Jennings will join the program. You might remember Scott Jennings. He's the dude on CNN. He's like the one Republican who's allowed on CNN. He gets the pass, and he does a great job with it. Also, Michael Whatley is a former RNC chairman, and he's running for Senate in North Carolina, where there's a lot of things going on right now. Major ICE attempts at arresting criminal aliens. But man, we've been on these raids. It's very interesting. You know, like attendance in, how many criminal aliens are there in this country? How many? All of the roads around Charlotte, North Carolina are green this morning. There's no traffic at all. All of the, like half the attendance in the schools. Schools are at like 50% attendance because there's ICE raids going on. It begs the question, like in these large municipalities, like how many illegals are there actually in these areas? The lots at Home Depot are completely empty. Hey, Alex, make sure that we have plenty to cover this. I think it's fascinating, and I want to talk with Michael Whatley about it. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. What are you doing to stay healthy? Well, I got to tell you, we were at Clemson last night. It was a very, very early morning for us, very, very late night. We had a blast, and it's time to stay healthy. I am not getting younger. I am getting older, but we are here. Chipper this morning. Fatty 15 certainly helps us out. It is a healthy aging compound, amino acid, and something that your body naturally makes, but your cells need in order to regenerate. Fatty 15, called C15 in the medical community, it is an essential fatty acid that is discovered it's the first essential fatty acid that has been discovered in more than 90 years. Incredible scientific breakthrough that helps your long-term health and wellness. It helps in healthy aging. It keeps your cells healthy. As your cells disintegrate, your body does too. It said that as many as 1 in 3 people worldwide have low C15 levels in cellular fragility syndrome. So Fatty 15, ladies and gentlemen, can help you replenish those levels. Check them out today. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels and help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit. Go to fatty15.com/Benny. Use the code Benny at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Okay. Maybe we'll have RFK on to do just that. We're working on that, ladies and gentlemen. We have some really exciting things in the works. We were last night at Clemson University. We had a blast. Some of the happenings at Clemson. Santa showed up. And Santa showed up to ask about Christmas. This was his question to me. We took questions for close to 2 hours at Clemson. Please go through. Please, Clyde, just go through. Yeah, it's great. Look at this. It's fantastic, man. Beautiful energy. Lots of laughs. Lots of incredible questions. Lots of sharp minds from the students. These kids, they want a future. These kids, they want an America that works for them. They don't want the ladder pulled up in front of them. They don't want the door closed. They want to succeed. And they love this country. They love their president. And they want policy solutions and victories. The only way that you're going to actually win this generation is to actually provide that pathway. And this is the work of Charlie. And this is the work of our show. As we say time and time again on this program, this program is about our kids, your kids, my grandkids eventually. Like, this is about leaving a functional and clean and stable and prosperous country for them. A moral generation is one that actually provides a future for their children, that blesses their children and leaves them an inheritance. That's in the Psalms. That's in the scriptures. So take up that mantle. Right now, it's not looking good. Okay, we have to change something. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you change it. Look at that. That's freaking great. We barely even promoted this event. And it was just fantastic. It was fantastic. So get ready. We have a lot more coming. I hope to be able to meet you on the road. Tons of Benny Brigade members, tons of subscribers that were there. And we are going to hit the bricks. Get ready. America Fest is coming up in Phoenix, Arizona. And I think they're like completely sold out. The numbers I'm hearing is like 30,000 people going to America Fest in Arizona this year. So I would love to see you there. That's going to be the next major. Hey, Alex, can you grab the Can you grab that? Can you grab like the America Fest landing page? I want to be able to hype it for Turning Point this morning. We've been working with Turning Point and worked with Charlie for such a long time, close to 10 years. And it's our great honor to share with the kids all across the nation to ensure that that legacy continues to grow and to be able to pick up our own little piece and carry it across the finish line. I don't even know, like, frankly, I don't know what God has in store for us. I don't know why God has called us to do what we're doing today, but we're just going to like go in we're going to just walk towards his voice and walk towards his calling. America Fest, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about an event of the year. This is going to be awesome in Phoenix, Arizona. America's future starts here. So many incredible speakers, the legacy of Charlie Kirk on full display, and the future of America, quite frankly, hanging in the balance as to what is our future. If our kids go Mandami or MAGA, they'll either go nationalists, American nationalists, or they'll go globalist and communist. So it's MAGA or Marxism, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we win. Lucky for us, there is always encouraging moments like this from yesterday. 15-year-old coming up to me in a photo line and being like, yo, I'm 15 and I'm starting my own Turning Point chapter.
15 years old and starting a Turning Point chapter right here. Proud mother, 15 years old. Why are you starting a Turning Point chapter?
I was a proud fan of Charlie Kirk, and I loved listening to him speak.
And what was it about Charlie's message that resonated with you?
His love for Christ.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen. You love to see it, and I want to be encouraging. I mean, there's plenty of blackpilling going on, and there's plenty of reasons to blackpill, quite frankly. And I'm going to cover those here off the top of the show today. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tim Burchett have gone viral over the last 24 hours with videos that should disgust you and disgust the conscience of the American people, showing full-scale uniparty corruption that is indefensible. And so while I want to talk about the Clintons and how the Clintons are going to, get DOJ referrals for their arrests, just like Steve Bannon did, I want to begin by saying that the problem and the rot runs so very deep in our nation and in our politics, and both parties are to blame. The problems that we face here in this country, both parties are to blame. And whether you like it or not, there were generations that just kind of like allowed these things to happen, whether it's Roe v. Wade, the murder of JFK, the total inability for young people to afford homes, 150 million new immigrants to this land, totally changing the culture and fabric of America. Many people brought into this country legally. I mean, legal immigration, I think, is actually worse than illegal immigration, quite frankly. If you are bringing people into this nation that hate this nation and are incompatible with our Constitution and the morals of this country, well, like, isn't that worse? Like, at least if they're illegal, you can send them home. But if you bring them here legally and they still hate this country, they hate Christendom, they hate freedom, they want Marxism or a caliphate here, like, isn't that actually more pernicious? And that was done by both parties. All of our leaders did that. And then they collude in order to protect themselves. And that's what happened last night. I'm going to let Tim Burchett explain here. Tim Burchett explained why the Stacey Plaskett vote to censure her failed. And Stacey Plaskett, as we've covered, is this, sick little venomous witch from the Virgin Islands. Virgin Islands is just a really shady American territory where a ton of money laundering goes on, a ton of multinational corporations, sex trafficking. There's like horrible criminal underbelly because it is sort of this principality way out in the middle of the Caribbean. It can be used in order to just funnel tons of evil through it. Stacey Plaskett represents it. Stacey Plaskett was the representative for Jeffrey Epstein, and she was caught dead to rights, texting the pedophile in order to try and get good questions to ask Donald Trump during hearing. So Stacey Plaskett was caught doing this. So what are the charges before her? Stacey Plaskett was, at the very least, in bed with a pedophile. She was, at the very least, speaking with and coordinating with a known pederast in order to try and get Trump, which this is what's become very clear about these Epstein files, is that Epstein hated Donald Trump and was engaging in a full-scale operation to try and destroy him by proxy, by proximity to his knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein, just by the fact that Jeffrey Epstein went to his parties. You can see how the entire op worked here. Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile by design. What do I mean by that? God make him a pedophile? No, of course not. If so, then you need to get down on your knees and pray for redemption, right? And have you need to pray for Christ's healing. We all do. But what happened with Jeffrey Epstein was that it's become really clear that Jeffrey Epstein was living out this debaucherous, truly demonic life in order to be so obscene that he could, by association, destroy people. Do you understand? So Jeffrey Epstein's become this moniker for pedophile, and just by knowing Jeffrey Epstein, you'll be destroyed. That's happening right now with a guy named Larry Summers. He was the president of Harvard. And so just by Larry Summers being close with Jeffrey Epstein, now he's had to step down from all these boards. He's had to quit all of his jobs. He's gone into hiding. He's retreating. And that's what the op was intended to do. Donald Trump didn't need to and did not, partake in any of the moral degeneracies or evils of Jeffrey Epstein and what he was offering. That's just a matter of record, okay, according to the victims and according to all available evidence. But just by simply knowing Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump has been smeared. That's what the hoax is. But there are people that were actually using the pedophile for money, for power, and texting with them on a regular basis. One of them was Hakeem Jeffries, who's the leader of the Democrats right now. And Hakeem Jeffries was on bended knee begging Jeffrey Epstein for money and contacts and relationships and so on, framing himself up as the Brooklyn Obama. That's what they call Hakeem Jeffries in these emails. It's disgusting. And so Stacey Plaskett was the representative of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, she's not from a real place. The Virgin Islands, not a state. The Virgin Islands are simply an American territory, and she is a non-voting member. So you have to ask yourself the question, why is this non-voting member, so meaning she's there to be a representative, but because she's not representing a state, she can't actually vote. She's not allowed to vote on the House floor. She's not allowed to vote. But she's on all these powerful committees. Why the hell is that? Well, of course, we know why. Because she controls an insane amount of Chinese money laundering, foreign international money laundering all through the Virgin Islands. She controls pedos like Jeffrey Epstein, or gets marching orders from pedos like Jeffrey Epstein. This is what Stacey Plaskett does, and this is what she did, and she did it on camera. There's video evidence of her doing this. How dare you run with this, right? But where'd you get this from? Alex Jones, InfoWars, Breitbart? Where'd it come from? It's the Washington Post, jackass. That's where it came from. It's the Washington Post. They're the ones who nailed her dead to rights. They're the ones who figured this out. Amazing. A pedo would text her, and then she'd say the thing the pedo says to say in order to get Trump. It's insane. It's crazy. So yes, the Democrat Party is getting hit hard over all of this. And what should happen to Stacey Plaskett is she should be removed from all of her committees. Stacey Plaskett, because she's doing this, because that's indefensible, obviously, far more coordination than Donald Trump ever had with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Are there texts to prove that Donald Trump was texting pedo Jeffrey Epstein while he was giving the State of the Union speech? Whatever, or writing policy? Of course not. If there was, then I would have to denounce that. Obviously, it is indefensible. So Stacey Plaskett had a vote last night on the House floor to censure her, and that censure would have stripped her of her committee assignments. Censure is, it's a bit of a slap on the wrist, but it's still, obviously, it's something you don't want to have happen to you. And if there's anybody more deserving of it, can you imagine? You can't. How do you possibly vote how do you defend yourself when you're texting a pedo for questions to ask during a congressional hearing? You can't. So she deserves to be censured. It should have been an obvious censure vote. But instead, some Republicans crossed the aisle in order to vote present or against, and the censure failed. So our weak, limp dick, cucked totally Republican Party decided to do this. Why exactly? Here are some of the Republicans that crossed the aisle. You can see here, some of them voted no, 3 of them. David Joyce, Don Bacon, and Lance Gooden. And some voted present, and that's enough in order to flip the vote itself, and it lost by a whisker. Tim Burchett, ladies and gentlemen, explaining what exactly happened here. A deal was cut. It's not just Republican lawmakers cucking out. A deal was cut, actually, in order to prevent a Democrat vote in order to censure a Republican. Listen.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, late vote series to censor delegate Stacey Plaskett. She's the one that was received a sizable contribution from Epstein, which apparently is legal, I'm not sure, but she also is the one who was texting with him during a committee hearing, getting instructions on how to better attack Trump from Epstein, sending her the text. And so she's on some pretty powerful committees, and that just tells you how corrupt this place is. But the disgusting thing about it was 4 Republicans chose not to vote. 3 Republicans voted present, and 3 Republicans voted no. So it failed. And what they did was they cut a deal. They cut a deal on an ethics vote on a Republican. And that's just wrong. Everybody ought to just stand on their own. If it were truly, we don't care whose party these sex offenders and all this other stuff are in. We're going after them. Then we start cutting deals. To me, it's really disgusting. I get disgusted about some things, but this is one that's really, really bad. You've got some people on there who are chairmen of committees and things like that. And that's the kind of people we put in leadership. It's bogus and it stinks. And the first opportunity I get to speak to our leadership, I will give them a piece of my mind, and I doubt it will go anywhere. But they're the most sewer-dwelling people, some of these folks, not all of them, but some of them are. It's just disgusting. It really is. Anyway, still, thank y'all for sending me here. We got to keep fighting. We quit, and we lose the whole deal. Remember Reagan said we're one generation away from losing our country. Folks, we're one vote series away from losing our country. We got to wake up. God's given us an incredible gift, and we're just blowing it. It won't be around for everybody says for their grandkids. Dadgum, it might not be around for your kids. It might not make it to the end of the year. Let's take our country back, folks. Thank y'all for sitting here.
Hey, Alex, I want you to ask Kara if she can get Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tim Burchett, Anna Paulina Luna on the program, just on an emergency basis. I know we have a stacked show, but just see if they're available. I want to hear about this. This repulses me. So that video has gone viral. What's that at right now? Video's gone viral, Klein. What's it at? Yeah. So 11,000 reposts, 38,000 likes, 2,000 comments, 2,000 saves, 750,000 views, well on its way to 1 million views. Tim Burchett talking about how Republicans cut a deal in order to protect a Republican member of Congress from a censure. Marjorie Taylor Greene out this morning with this. Yesterday, after 5 ridiculous months of fighting the White House and the Speaker and Congress, there you go. Yesterday, after 5 ridiculous months of fighting the White House and the Speaker to get Congress to finally vote and release the Epstein files, a deal was made to stop the censure of Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat delegate from the territory of the U.S. Virgin Islands, which would have kicked her off the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence that oversees U.S. intelligence activities for texting with Epstein during an Oversight Committee hearing in 2019. She's on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. That means she has the highest possible classification for the U.S. government for intel. Do you understand what that means? That means that she was an operative for Epstein. Epstein was, of course, working for Mossad. He was working for other nation states. He was probably working for our own CIA. And I think that he was an equal opportunity saboteur. But that, people like Stacey Plaskett getting orders from him, that means that she's clearly leaking information to him about our national security. This is totally and completely unacceptable. Stacey Plaskett, let the Democrats hang on this vote. Stacey Plaskett deserves, all the Democrats voted against it. Okay, make the case. Argue it to the American people. Why Stacey Plaskett's innocent. It's the damn Washington Post coming out against her and proving that she's not. Republicans can't, stand together. Why was this deal made? What deal happened? 3 Republicans crossed the aisle and voted with Democrats to stop Plaskett's censure resolution in a swap so that Democrats would not bring up a Corey Mills censure resolution for alleged physical assaults and threatening to release pornography on an ex-girlfriend and ethics violations and questionable military record. Corey Mills, these allegations are out there against Corey Mills. I'm not going to say anything more. I don't know anything about it. I do know the parties involved. As you well know, I went to Butler, for instance, with Corey Mills last year, right? We haven't booked him on the show since these allegations came out, and I'm going to let the process play out here, okay? That's just all I can say, all right? But I'll tell you what, man, don't be a scumbag. I'm going to say this in the aggregate, don't be a scumbag. But as you well know, if you are a regular viewer of this program, I have no fear of calling out other Republicans. We have used the cudgel of this show to go hard at Republicans who are weak, who sabotage and betray us. Mitch McConnell is a good example of this, but there are many. I've never protected anyone just because they have an R at the end of their last name. We're all human beings. All of us are fallen. It's incumbent on us, actually, to be scary to the Republican Party. I want to be scary to the Republican Party. I want them to fear me. I want them to fear you. You shouldn't get a free pass because there's an R at the end of your name. It is a good thing that we are releasing all of the Epstein files. I hope they release all of the January 6 files, all the pipe bomber files, all the JFK files, all of the UFO files. Release it all. Cleanse the system. Burn it to the ground. Imprison everyone. It's good. It's good that there was actually unity on all of this vote. But you won't find me defending the indefensible, okay? And you'll find me asking questions when questions need to be asked. So anyway, it was for Corey Mills last night that they cut a deal to prevent Stacey Plaskett, pedo protector, from just getting censured. It's not like we're putting her in prison. She's getting a little slap on the wrist from the House. She'd have to lose her committee. It's not like she's going to jail, which maybe she belongs there. I don't know. But the vote failed because Republicans cut a filthy deal instead of letting the votes stand on their own. What I mean by that is if a Republican is guilty of something or has done something wrong, not just if they've hurt your feelings, but if they have legitimately done something wrong, then they deserve to be censured. I can say it. Why could I say that? Because I believe in God. The government is not God. It's not about having all the power all the time. There's something higher than that, like your own soul. Democrats don't believe in God. Democrats only believe in power. And that's the difference. So all Democrats vote to protect Stacey Plaskett, and our weak-ass Republican leadership cuts a deal in order to protect a Republican that should be able to stand on his own 2 feet, right, against these allegations. You, the American people, should be outraged by this from both parties, says Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you should be asking many questions. For example, why does Plaskett, who's a non-voting delegate from the U.S. territory, serve on the House Intelligence Committee, Ways and Means Committee, Budget Committee? Because of the money, because she literally because that's where all the money laundering happens, obviously. Those are very powerful, influential committees. She can't even vote on the House floor. Corey Mills serves on the House Armed Services Committee, Foreign Affairs, and subcommittees of intelligence. So why did both sides work together to stop Plaskett and Mills' censure resolutions last night in order to protect both Plaskett and Mills? Members of Congress, like me, never ever received such protections and never will. Instead of working to pass legislation that supports policies you voted for, passing our appropriation bills and solving real crises like healthcare, Congress is trapped in the quicksand of the swamp with no intention of getting out, moving along to Anna Paulina Luna. And I'm well aware that Marjorie Taylor Greene has burned quite a few bridges in MAGA and back and forth, and Trump has rescinded his endorsement of her and so on. So let's move over to Anna Paulina Luna. Maybe you're like, well, that's like that's not, we don't want to hear from Marjorie. Fine, if that's what you think. She's telling the truth there, by the way. Her and Tim Burchett. Here's Anna Paulina Luna. I refuse to vote to protect a corrupt Republican the same way I will not vote to protect a corrupt Democrat. If a member brings forward a legitimate censure for corruption against another Republican, I will vote for it. Get the House in order at GOP. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. What a nightmare. How can you possibly say that you are against pedophiles? GOP leadership, House leadership, get me my Mike Johnson clip immediately. We went to the House and we interviewed Mike Johnson, and he sat as far as away as I am from you right now. And by that, I mean, you know, the camera's really close to me, but whatever. You're welcome to come into the studio and watch the show anytime. I sat across from Mike Johnson, and that dude was like, this is despicable. Nobody deserves to be protected. Get it out. Okay, here's what Mike Johnson had to say to me. Here we go.
About it that concerns either testifying or testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell potentially before Congress, or if you would support members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Anna Paulina Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. We look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, they were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue and the things that the president is most concerned about, as we are. So I'm anxious to get this behind us.
Yeah, and I can see that because there's so many victories and there's so many wins that are happening.
We just had the most incredible 6 months.
Okay, so then he goes on to like talk about the tributaries and things that have been done. And listen, I'm happy to cheerlead when good things happen, but this is not a good thing. Dude lied to my face. It makes me pissed off. Because you can't sit there and say, and I just played you Marjorie Taylor Greene and Anna Paulina Luna's clips. Like, you can't sit there and say, yeah, I'm in favor of punishing the people that were clearly accelerating and creating the conditions for this pedophile to have such heavy control over our body politic, and then not censure the member of Congress who did that. You cut a deal to protect the Democrat that worked with that was in bed with the pedophile trying to get Trump? It's indefensible. How can you do that? What a betrayal of every principle that we have. Do we have any principles? The basement, okay? of every relationship is, will you lie to my face? If your girlfriend, your wife is going to lie to your face, if you catch them in just like a simple lie, like I went to the grocery store, but they didn't. Like, if they're willing to just lie to you, you don't have a relationship. It's not a functional relationship. That's abuse. When the GOP says they're against the operation of Jeffrey Epstein, but then refuses to punish the people who were engaging, accelerating, creating the power vectors for Jeffrey Epstein to attack Trump, to attack their committees, to attack the Republican Party, to be used as an intel op, to be used as a foreign operation against our duly elected Republic president, then you're lying to us. If you refuse to punish the Democrats who did that, when you have the open goal to do it, you have an open goal. There's no goalie. You have the ball at the 2-yard mark, and you refuse to kick it in, then you show us the game. That is about protecting pedophiles, isn't it? And their protectors. It is about that. I feel like there's an energy right now, and it's coming from actually both sides. And it's an energy that is led by people who are so sick of being lied to. They're so sick of paying taxes to a pedo cult. And every time the Republicans take an action like this, every time that Mike Johnson and Republican leaders take an action like this, and like these scumbags, here are the people that voted for him, but quite frankly, it's not really these guys. It's Republican leadership that allowed for this to happen. Every time that they do this, they lie to us. And they prove that we don't have a functional relationship. We have an abusive relationship. It's not too much to just ask, are we paying taxes to people who protect pedophiles? And the answer today is yes. Yes, you are. You're paying the taxes, you're paying the salaries of all these members of Congress that just voted to keep Stacey Plaskett on the Intel Committee. Yes, you're paying taxes to a pedophile cult. Yes. I mean, that was proven last night. Some of the closest friends and allies of this show have been out now, like saying that's exactly and precisely what happened. And so Republicans in Congress, man, they had better get their act together. I'm going to come full bore with all the full weight of this program, and we're going to come in swinging. Hell follows with us. You're going to cut a deal to protect a Democrat that was working with a pedo to attack President Trump. We have now the emails that show this entire operation, and you're going to keep giving her goodies just so that someone else might not get censured? Weak, stupid betrayal. It's indefensible. I won't allow it. We won't allow it. Not on this program. This is the program that God's given us. This is the audience that we have. We're proud of it. And we've never lied to you, and we never will. And so I am disgusted, along with some of the closer allies of this program, Anna Paulina Luna and Tim Burchett, at what happened last night. Frankly, you should be too. I hope this goes viral. I want Republican leadership to see this. Mike Johnson lied to my face. And if you actually believe what you've been telling us about protecting children, about protecting women, about being against pedos, and being against this whatever stick foreign intel op honeypot operation that Jeffrey Epstein was running, then you're going to start punishing people. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume that you are that you agree with it. Otherwise, I'm simply going to assume that you're just there to also protect the pedophiles. Ladies and gentlemen, to that end, James Comer giving the Clintons the Bannon treatment. Okay, we'll get to that in just 1 second. Patriot Mobile is the sponsor of our program, a longtime sponsor who we love. They travel with us. They keep us connected. They keep us locked in on the road. That's because they are, well, an incredible company. They're the only Christian conservative wireless provider, and they are available on all 3 major carriers, premium access to U.S. networks, giving them nationwide coverage that you can count on. They offer unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and internet backup. Take a stand today and go to patriotmobile.com/Benny, call 972-PATRIOT, and use the code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny, 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. Let's talk about the Clintons. Here's a wonderful opportunity for Republicans to change course here and to do something. James Comer vows to give Clintons Bannon treatment if they defy subpoenas. Here we go. From Just the News. James Comer said the Clintons are 2 Democrats in his committee who he has not heard back from regarding subpoenas and their testimony, their ties to Epstein. The continued silence will be met with criminal referrals. Here we go. House Oversight Committee, James Comer, on Tuesday said that he would give former President Bill Clinton and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton the same treatment that the Democrats gave Steve Bannon if they do not comply with congressional subpoenas to testify over their alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein. House Democrats referred Bannon for prosecution after he failed to comply with the House January 6 subcommittee. He later was convicted on 2 counts of contempt of Congress and sentenced to 4 months in prison. Also silenced, obviously they took him off the air. Comer said that the Clintons are 2 Democrats that his committee has not heard back from regarding subpoenas, their testimony, and the continued silence will be met with criminal referrals. We expect to hear from Bill and Hillary Clinton, Comer said. Donald Trump answered questions for years about Jeffrey Epstein. Every day, he gets asked questions about Epstein and answers them in front of the American people. We've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats. Other Democrats have sent letters saying that they knew nothing about Epstein, which would hold in court if something would ever come out, that they did know something. And then they committed perjury. But the Clintons have never responded, and they're the one group in this investigation that has never had to answer questions in front of any credible reporter ever. So we expect the Clintons to come in, or I expect the Clintons to be met with the same fate that Bannon and Peter Navarro were met with by Democrats in control. Comer also noted that Democrats have not helped bring the Clintons in to testify. They were too focused on trying to criminally connect Trump to Epstein, something that has, of course, spectacularly backfired. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Anna Paulina Luna on the Clintons defying the subpoena.
But of course, after President Trump's tweet, where he actually pointed out also, not to mention Reid Hoffman and Bill Clinton also being implicated. But I actually just found out from our investigators over at Oversight that the Clintons are actually refusing to come forward and testify. And so that's going to be an interesting thing. I think they'll be hit with the subpoena here pretty soon.
Yeah, well, that was just going to ask you about that because that was your latest tweet on X was that they won't testify. So, I mean, Clinton has clearly got, an affiliation with Epstein and spent a lot of time with him. And neither of them they're going to force you to come get him, huh?
I guess so. But what's crazy about this whole thing is the Democrats have made no comment on this, nor are they making any comment on the fact that a member of Congress, Plaskett, had actually been texting back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein to try to get dirt on the president during impeachment trials. And so they want to try to pretend like they're fighting for victims. But when it comes to calling out their own party for the involved ties to Jeffrey Epstein, they want nothing to do with it.
So what's been happening right now, and James Comer's been on to talk about this. ALX, do we have any, I know that we're having issues with Scott Jennings right now, just letting you know that we are working on it. Our producers are working on it, and we're going to sort it out. Look forward to having Scott on the show. Burchett is booked. That would be awesome. Oh, okay, great. Fantastic. Burchett will be joining the program. Fantastic. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, but yeah, producer ALX and Danny are both working with Scott Jennings. Okay, great. I look forward to talking with him. That's an update on the guests for the program. Please check to see if APL is available as well. Happy to talk to Marjorie. Check to see if any of them can pop on. I just want to hear about this betrayal of the American people. Of our party. I won't allow it. I just won't allow it. You know what I'm having flashbacks over? Klein, go get me some McConnell falling clips, please. Get me McConnell falling or like McConnell crashing out. And I don't want to break too far from like this Clinton story because it's critical. This is critical. But the reason why I get so upset about stuff like this is that we all watched Mitch McConnell space out. We watched Mitch McConnell literally be incapable of answering like turn the volume on.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
So then he just sits silently and stares into the middle distance.
Question, Senator, running for re-election in 2026.
And Broomhilda comes in to like scream in his ear, and then he just has a seizure. This is Mitch McConnell having a seizure.
Senator. Penny.
Then she calls over the Secret Service to potentially like air evacuate him from the stadium. From the podium. He's gripping the edges of the podium there.
Okay.
After the seizure, then his staffers indignantly
have a question. Please speak up.
lecture the media. Exactly like how they treated the press with Joe Biden. And this was a Republican leader of the Senate at this time. Here's a photo of Mitch McConnell. He's completely wheelchair bound. Here's Mitch McConnell, sadly. It's really hard to watch. He just straight up falls flat on his face. No one touches him. Nothing happens. He just falls over. Why did I get so enraged at it? Mitch McConnell's done. He's retiring. Okay, fine. Should have happened a long time ago. He's done. Biden's done. I get so angry at this because it makes us all liars. I was a liar. I'm not a Mitch McConnell supporter, but it made me a fool because I'm going after Joe Biden saying that he can't stand for office because he can't stand. He's lost his mind. He's unfit for office. And then here's my Republican leader of the Senate. Doesn't that make me a bit of a fraud? And I'm not a fraud. I'm a really brutally honest person. I just don't lie about things. I guess I'm not smart enough to lie. Very humble room temperature IQ around here. The best part about that is being very pragmatic about it is that to lie and make up these kind of things, you have to be pretty sinister. You have to think you're smarter than you actually are. My grandmother always used to say, you're smart, but you're not as smart as you think you are. And so I'm not a liar. But us having to sit there and watch our Republican leader do this while criticizing Joe Biden, it meant that both parties were fraudulent. Because Republicans had this leader that had the same problems or worse than Joe Biden, frankly. Which was worse, Joe Biden or Mitch McConnell? Both of them are falling directly on their faces, directly on their asses. Both of them cannot walk, cannot think, cannot speak, are having seizures, are disappearing for days and weeks on end. And they're both the leaders of the Republicans and the Democrats. And so when Republicans pull a stunt like this last night, where they allow the pedo protectors to walk free, a stunt like this, where they vote to protect the pedo protectors, which is what happened here, then it makes us frauds because we're supposed to be against it. We have to be against this. All the more reason why the Clinton, damn it, you better be dragging these Clintons in for DOJ prosecutions. Here's what James Comer has to say about it. All the more reason, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time. And yes, I will go on full attack mode. Yes, you should be scared of this program. As a Republican, you should be fearful. You pull stuff like this, we're expect to get hit. We're going to call you out because I don't like being made a liar or a fraud. I hate it. And we've been bloody consistent on this Epstein thing. We've been scary consistent on it. You can go back and check clips from 3 years ago and they've aged like fine wine. And we're not going to be made a liar on this. We're not going to be turned into a fraud. Here's James Comer on the Clintons.
Mr. Chairman, there are two very important people that you subpoenaed early on, or excuse me, that you asked to voluntarily cooperate. They didn't schedule their interviews. Now there's a subpoena. But Bill and Hillary Clinton, if they continue to duck you, will you take them to court? Will you try to enforce a subpoena? Will you go the Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro route?
100%. We're going to go that route. We expect to hear from Bill and Hillary Clinton. Look, Donald Trump's answered questions for years about Jeffrey Epstein. Every day he gets asked questions about Epstein, and he answers them in front of the American people. We've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats. 2 Republicans have come forward, Bill Barr and Alex Acosta. They did interviews and deposition, and those were tough, but they did them. They didn't back down. Other Democrats have sent letters that saying they knew nothing about Epstein, which would hold in court if something ever comes out that they did know something, then they committed perjury there. But the Clintons have never responded. They're the one group in this investigation that's never had to answer questions in front of a credible reporter, and they've never certainly answered questions from attorneys or members of Congress. So we expect the Clintons to come in, or I expect the Clintons to be met with the same fate that Bannon and Navarro were met with when the Democrats were in control.
You better do it. You better do it. It's our job to course correct. It's our job to speak on behalf of a base that is really pissed off right now. And you shouldn't be allowed to protect these people. Now, Stacey Plaskett is out doing a victory lap. She was just on CNN seconds ago. Stacey Plaskett's on CNN having to answer for what it is that she was doing with Jeffrey Epstein. It's an absolutely breathtaking clip. It's now going viral in my feed. Boys, do we have it? There we go. There you go. There you go, kids. Stacey Plaskett asked by CNN, like, wait a second. Why were you texting with this pedo during the hearing? And her answer is incredible. This is what Republicans voted to protect yesterday. Here we go. Can't hear it.
Information to get at the truth. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a real friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes. And as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein and I.
So thank you, Republicans. Thank you. Thank you, congressional Republicans. Thanks a lot. So now Stacey Plaskett, instead of going on CNN to bitch that she's been censured by Republicans who are saying that it is unacceptable to be working with a pedo to try and attack President Trump, now she gets to go on there and say, you know what? There's like, I know that he was a pedo, and there's a lot of people that just do a lot of things. Good luck. Holy moly. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What a total and complete nightmare. Joining me now is a man who is a regular on that network, CNN. He's also an author of a book, Revolution of Common Sense. If you see a clip from CNN go viral, it certainly involves Scott Jennings. And somebody who just recently met with Donald Trump maybe has something to say about Mitch McConnell in the Kentucky Senate race. I suppose we'll see right now as Scott Jennings joins the show live. Scott, welcome to the program. Nice to have you on.
Hey, Benny, thanks for having me in. That Plaskett business is something else. I mean, I can't believe it, man. They want this story to be about Donald Trump. I think the only thing we've learned is that Democrats were in touch with Epstein long after we knew all that we need to know about him, that he's a pedophile and a convicted sex offender, and they're out here raising money with the guy and getting programmed by him in congressional hearings. I think this whole thing's going to blow up in their face, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why Republicans don't take a stand on it and make that separation. However, there was a deal that was struck last night where Republicans protected Plaskett from getting stripped of her committees and censured. And that, of course,
I don't understand.
That's just a betrayal.
I'm with you.
Clearly, of what the Republican Party is supposed to stand for. If you can't, the most basic question for the American public should be, am I paying taxes to a pedophile cult? And to protect them. And if you can't answer that question, or if the answer to that question is maybe, then you have a real problem in this country. And if Republicans can't punish people who are clearly doing that, then what the hell is this? What are they doing exactly?
Trump was not. He excommunicated Epstein from his life. They never counted on everybody finding out that it was Democrats who were involved with Epstein. It was Larry Summers, who, by the way, had to resign from another board this morning over this stuff. It was Plaskett, who's getting messages from him in 2019. He's already been convicted at this point. It was Hakeem Jeffries, who's raising money with Epstein. So there's a really bright line story here. You guys want it to be about Trump. It's really about your own people. So I'm with you. I want Republicans to hold all these Democrats accountable. They've been out carping about Trump and Epstein. Now they need to own their own connections, which appear to me to be quite substantial.
So what should Republicans do here? Because this deal sort of proves what we've all feared, which is that this is a protection racket for predators here in Washington, D.C., and that both parties are in on it.
Well, I think Plaskett ought to be reprimanded. I think censure was, I'm not sure that's good enough.
Exactly. Right.
She's literally getting text messages from this guy saying, say this. Then she says it out loud. He was programming her. He was operating her. And now they're brushing it off like, oh, this is just one of my constituents. No, this is something quite different than that. So I just don't think we can let them get away with this, because I think the ongoing debate about Epstein is going to be who knew what. And it strikes me that Democrats knew a lot more than they've let on about this, and they had a lot more connections to it than they've let on. They want the whole thing to be about Trump. You got to make them own it. You have to make them own their decisions. Yes. And their decisions were after Trump got rid of Epstein, they made the decision to stick with Epstein. You got to make them own that decision. That was their conscious decision to do that.
But in order to do that, there has to be some type of consequence. There has to be some type of messaging consequence, PR consequence. And it seems like when your best messenger are anchors on CNN, that's a bad look for. It's like that's going to be a tough role for the Republican Party. We just played that Plaskett clip where she says, the CNN anchor goes, and it's Pamela Brown. She goes, this guy was a predator and a pedophile. Like, you knew that, and you were working with him. And Plaskett goes, well, a lot of people do a lot of bad things. What? I just don't understand why Republicans can't make one stick. The Clinton thing is going to be interesting. Do you think they'll have the balls to actually drag the Clintons in for a subpoena or refer them to the DOJ? Do you think that's going to actually materialize, Scott?
Well, I hope so, and I know Comer has said he's going to stay after it. Look, they wanted all this stuff out. It's now going to be out. We're going to look at the documents and see who's in there. We already know certain things from the emails that the House Oversight Committee released. We're going to learn more. I have a strong feeling a bunch of Democrats or people affiliated with Democrats are going to be found out here, and we just have to, if we're committed to the transparency of this, we just got to stay with it. We can't just let it go. Been there.
Scott, I'm sorry, we can't hear you, bro. I'm sorry, man. Your shot is totally collapsed, brother. Yeah, I apologize, guys. Yep. Sorry about that, Klein. Got to go. Yeah, I don't know what else I can do. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. His shot is just completely collapsed. We're having a ton of problems with his connection. Yeah, and that's just too bad because we were really looking forward to that. In the future, I think we've got to in the future, production team, we've got to like really check these things. And when we don't have them, we can't go with the interview. Okay. Like I've asked for this a bunch of times, and it just is a programming note that we just have to say like live here. And I'm doing this live so that it sticks. ALX, Danny, Klein. When we have the broken shot, we just can't go with it. We just can't. We just have to cut. Kara, who's our booker, is awesome. But like when we're booking the guests, that we have to have, because I'm really excited to talk with Scott. He's like a perfect guest for this. But I, we do hits on the road all the time. You have to be able to have like a solid connection. You have to be able to have like a solid capacity to actually do the stream. It's not like calling into a radio show. So, it just is what it is, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Maybe you can effort with Scott to like get somewhere where he can actually, it looks like he was in like a basement or something. Effort to Scott to get somewhere where he can actually do the hit. But yeah, I was looking forward to chatting with him. Too bad. It was like a perfect topic for him as well. So disappointed in that, but that's all right. Disappointed in a lot of things this morning. Too bad. This has been a wild ride and a wild romp for the Republican Party and the president. It's been annoying for me to see exactly how this has been weaponized and materialized against a movement that was like quite clearly a protest vote against this, right? That's what the MAGA movement is. This is what the America First movement is. President Trump had a 3-minute roast of an ABC News reporter in the White House yesterday for asking about this. I find it incredibly rich that is ABC that asked this question. I find it so rich. Now, surely we have the ABC News Project Veritas clip. Surely we have that. Yes? Okay. So ABC News, of all news stations, that by the way, did this. This is not live on air, but this is Amy Rohrbach, who was their biggest anchor at the time, explaining that it was ABC News that protected, see if you can spot a trend here, protected pedophile Jeffrey Epstein again and again and again, would have changed the dynamic entirely, would have changed history if they had allowed this anchor who had Clinton, Dershowitz, Prince Andrew, all these people to come forward with her correct allegations of sexual abuse from Jeffrey Epstein. Imagine if ABC News had let this run and had not covered up for the pedophile. Here we go.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, it was what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep, Brad Edwards, the attorney.
What we had was unbelievable. Clinton, Prince Andrew, Dershowitz, we had all the victims on the air, and ABC News nukes it. That clip is from 2016. What's the date of that clip, ALX? When was she saying that? What year was she saying that? How much would have changed if ABC News, with all of their weight and all of the gravity of ABC News, had allowed that story to run and had implicated the Clintons all the way back in 2016 when that clip's from? And yet ABC News has the temerity and the bloody cheek to, in the White House yesterday, attack Trump for covering up Epstein. Isn't that something? Here we go.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump, and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible, and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with him all the time. What's his name?
Reid Hoffman.
Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman. But I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press, they don't get any news, and you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you. Who else has a question?
I know that we're living in the middle of it. I know there's plenty to be critical of. There's plenty of punches to be thrown here. But we'll look back on clips like that someday with warmth and happiness and joy and say, wow, that truly was a golden era of roasting reporters in the White House. And we'll it's been normalized now. We just kind of expect that to happen. Say please, say thank you. But man, we'll say, wow, what did we have? We'll look at it we'll look back on it as a vintage, a fine wine. Speaking of a fine wine, somebody who's just getting better with age, the great Tim Burchett joins us live now from his skateboard in Congress. Let's go. Congressman, you went viral yesterday by exposing the swamp. Now, Anna Paulina Luna and Marjorie Taylor Greene have come to your defense and saying that's exactly what happened. Republicans cut a sleazebag deal in order to protect a pedophile enabler, which is indefensible. The floor is yours.
And that person's on the Intelligence Committee, Benny. And the reality is, to get on the Intelligence Committee, you got to raise a ton of money for the conference or the caucus, and you got to kiss a lot of ass. And I do not have the ability to do either one. That is why I'm probably vulnerable, because I can't raise the money because the big boys hate my guts. They always throw me a bone the day after the election, tell me they were always with me all along. And I always say, yeah, I really felt it right there towards the end. But the reality is that shows, I could quit saying it's a swamp. I've said this many times. The swamp is something God created. I know you believe in God as the ultimate creator. It's a swamp is a cool ecosystem, filters water. It's beautiful. This is man-made. It is a sewer, and it stinks, and it's infected both parties, and it's just despicable, the deal cutting that goes on to protect people, when ultimately
It's not about the people back home, the people that sent us here, not about my dadgum Uncle Roy who died protecting this country. It's about keeping members of Congress in power, and in effect, they are compromised. You and I have talked about this. We blew the lid off that, and everybody got ticked off about it, and then the news came out about what was really going on. This is compromise 101. You see people that you think are going to do the right thing, and then they don't. They vote to protect a pedophile co-conspirator, literally. I mean, this lady was getting texts from Jeffrey Epstein, contributions from him, and you don't hear a peep out of the Democrats over it. And then the vote to censure her, which we ought to vote to kick her ass out of Congress, is what we ought to do. She doesn't even have a vote on the floor on contested votes because she's a delegate. And that she's sitting on the Intelligence Committee, a committee I cannot even go in to hear what's going on as a member of Congress. And they sit up there like, you know, they're kings, which I guess they are. And it's just a bogus situation. America needs to get ticked off. We need to get off our butts, and we need to quit with all the garbage about how we're doing what's right, because we're not. And quit saying I'm going to load up and we're going to beat AOC. Quit worrying about AOC. Quit worrying about Priapol or whatever. Worry about these moderates that are killing us. They are killing us. I've said this before. Reagan said it. We're one generation away from losing our country. Brother, we're one vote series away from losing our country, because America is going to lose confidence, and they have lost confidence, and they should. And we've got to do better than 12% at the polls.
So what exactly happened last night with Republican leadership? Was this a Mike Johnson deal? So
Well,
he was trying to protect Corey Mills from getting a censure vote as well? Let every member of Congress stand on their own, right? Like, it's indefensible what Stacey Plaskett did. So I don't know anything about what Corey Mills did, but it's indefensible what Stacey Plaskett clearly did. And who published that was the Washington Post. It wasn't InfoWars. It wasn't Breitbart. It was the Washington Post that went hard at her for being a pedophile enabler and protector, and actually just pretty much programmed. So she's programmed by an elite pederast, and he is funneling through her questions of Congress. So Jeffrey Epstein might as well be a effing member of Congress at this point.
Yep.
And he's using the Democrat Party. Yes. Yeah, and so then Republicans can't punish that. That's like the most bottom. That's like below the basement. That's like at the Earth's crust level of like the lowest bar you could get to ask Republicans to simply punish that person with a slap on the wrist. And they can't do that. That's too much.
Yeah. Well, in the speaker's defense, I got a text from him last night. He saw my viral video. I think it's over 700,000 views. And I was ticked off, and you know, I put it out there, and he said, look, I didn't know about it. I was at a state dinner with the president. He came in late, and I get that, but let's correct it. We have the opportunity to correct. See, my tie's not even pulled up, so I was really ticked off. I try to keep it pulled up tight, even though my press guy never gets it right. He always pulls it off to the side, and I get ticked off, but he's all I got. So anyway, no, I just think we missed another opportunity. I hate that in this game. I hate when we miss an opportunity. You know, it's like these Epstein files, dude, the whole thing. And then you get, you know, we got 300,000 kids that disappeared over the border during the Biden or whatever. Somebody said it's not 300,000, it's 100. I don't care if it's 5. You know, you got these kids sold into sex slavery. You've got organ harvesting. This is from the very pits of hell, Benny. Something that we should all agree on, even people that aren't even believers in Jesus. You know, this is the pits of hell that these people are in. And then the Democrat Party doesn't have the guts to call that out because it happened during the Biden administration. And then, you know, raise all the hell you want about Epstein. It's horrible, but this is there too. And no one will address any of this. And then Congress has the nerve to cut a deal with a lady who doesn't even have a vote because she's a delegate. And she sits on the most powerful committee in Congress. Most powerful. It is the most sought after position. You know, I said something to the former speaker about getting onto it, and he just laughed. after I helped him get in there. But anyway, he was removed anyway. But it doesn't matter. The point is this: this country knows right now we are compromised. If we can't kick somebody like that out of a, and then she needs to be out of Congress. She needs to go back to the island where she came from. Although, granted, it's American territory. I get that. And we need to start over again. This does not need to happen. Republicans, whatever deal they cut, I don't know what Corey Mills did. I'm not even worried about that. I'm worried about the vote that you had 3 Republicans vote against it, 3 that passed, and 4 that chose not to vote that were there.
So will we get another vote on this? Did the speaker tell you we're going to get another vote on this?
I don't know. I don't know the process. I'm not the parliamentarian. I'm just, my blood pressure's been going through the roof since last night, dude. I'm going to find out, though. I'm going to find out because America deserves that. And we need to hold people accountable. And that's why people like you are so politically deadly to these people, and they hate your guts. And I love it.
Good.
And I love it.
Good.
Because
We've been railing against them because Mike Johnson lied to my face. Like I was up in Capitol Hill, and I'm not. This isn't like a Mike Johnson hate show, but this is an equal opportunity. Like, explain to us, and you better tell us the truth when we're up there, because he's like, yes, I want everything out. Pam Bondi should just release all of it. We shouldn't protect any of these pederasts, and he said that to me, and we played the clip. And then what happened last night was Republicans voted to protect the pederasts, and some of them. And to not punish people who were effectively being an Epstein proxy. I mean, you have to look at Stacey Plaskett now. You have to look at her as effectively like Jeffrey Epstein serving in Congress. That's what she is.
Yeah, she has his ear, or he had her ear. Now,
how much money do you think that she funneled through the shady Virgin Island stuff, like from Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, how much money do you think? We saw what was happening with Sam Bankman-Fried. You know, shouldn't it be her? We know that the Virgin Islands is like the center of all money laundering. Shouldn't it be her under investigation? Not just censured, not just kicked out of Congress. Shouldn't there be a full-scale investigation?
Yeah, and also who all Epstein gave money to.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you they're the ones that yell the loudest. There's a movie, I think it's Stalag 13 or 17, I can't remember. And they said, and this guy was supposed to be a snitch. He wasn't. He was just a jerk. And they beat the crap out of him. And they said, who do you think is the one that did it? Who do you think is the real snitch? And he said, the one that beat me the hardest. And so the ones that are yelling the hardest in this thing, took me a long time to get to that point, but I think you understand what I'm saying, Benny. You get me. I just can't even imagine. Yeah, there you go. I can't even imagine going home back to East Tennessee or just to Tennessee anywhere and saying, oh, I voted to protect these dirt bags. It's ridiculous.
Of course not. Of course not. No, it's indefensible. It's indefensible.
I've always said, ultimately, more than the voters, I'm going to face my maker one day. And to think that you play ball with these people or allow them to exist or allow them a voice is just beyond belief. Beyond belief.
So you're on oversight, and James Comer is out saying that the Clintons are going to get Bannon treatment. They haven't gotten back with you at all. They haven't even responded. Some other very powerful people have, but the Clintons have said, screw you. And you can't do that to Congress. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're, I don't know exactly what protections Hillary would ever have. Obviously you have presidential immunity, I suppose, while you're president, but like Donald Trump's had to sit for subpoenas for like half his life.
And his kids.
What's going to happen to the Clintons here?
Nothing. The sewer protects its own, brother. I'll rant and rave, and we'll come back on in a couple of weeks, and I'll tell you about the letter I wrote to whoever to get them before the committee. But that's why people like me aren't in leadership, dude. I think you just about have to be compromised to get to that point, one way or the other.
What should happen to the Clintons?
They should be punished. We should get to the bottom of everything. We should find out where the money went. We should find out where the money went when they were down there in that island. Not just the Epstein Island,
Haiti.
Haiti. But too many people got rich off this. Look, Benny, here's how it works. It's just the NGOs, and let's talk about them non-government organizations, which are government. Just my bill to defund the Taliban. 1,000 NGOs, plus you add the UN, probably 3,000 NGOs. The money flows. And Elon Musk had it right. And that's why I think both parties shunned themselves from him, because he said, hey, those NGOs, the money flows right back to Washington. And he told me, he said, I think it flows in the pockets of politicians. I mean, you had the ranking member of the committee I serve on that went through the bill to defund the Taliban, which, still waiting in the Senate for them to pass it. All kinds of confusion over there. They're fighting over the NGOs. The money, he told me the money flows right from your pockets to the dadgum NGOs. The NGOs, the money comes right back to Washington in the form of dark money and in the pockets of politicians. That's why you're seeing Republicans go squishy on NGOs, because they're shady as hell. They all are. I mean, if you're involved in it, they are. Not everybody up here is. Some of them are just willing idiots. They just go along to get along, so they know that they'll get their crumbs, and they don't really ask where they come from.
Do you think that that's what Elon found, and that's why he was run out of the city?
That's my theory. That's my theory, ultimately. I think he was getting too close. I don't know if he found the specifics yet, but I'd say he was right on it. He was right on it. And then you don't see the media rap. And I know I got to get on. I got to go. I got to get out. I got to get to my deal. C-SPAN. I apologize. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, it's money, it's power, and it's arrogance. All those three things is what runs this town. And that's why, again, people like me, we don't advance. We don't advance. I mean, I'm good looking enough to be a chairman. You've told me that many times off the air that I'm an incredibly handsome man. But I got to go, brother. I love you. Thank you. Hey, let's keep fighting for our country. Let's not quit. God's blessed us with an incredible country and a gift.
Yes.
And you've been a gift to this country. And I hope you stay healthy and love that sweet family of yours. Thank you, brother. God bless you. You're
God
the man.
bless you. God bless you, Tim, and enjoy a much smaller audience on C-SPAN.
Yeah, 4 people that'll be watching me here. One of them my wife won't even be watching me. I bet she's working in the barn right now. See you, brother.
All right, see you, Congressman. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Burchett there saying that he doesn't get great sleep at night, that he's pissed off. Helix Sleep can change that. Helix Sleep, ladies and gentlemen, is the sleep partner of the Johnson household. My kids use Helix Sleep beds. My wife and I use a Helix Sleep mattress. If you are preparing for the holiday season, it's a busy time. Sleep is extremely important and hard to get, frankly. My kids are buzzing. They see that Christmas tree go up, and it's been up in our house for 2 weeks now, and they are just buzzing. Just the other night, actually, my wife caught my daughter sneaking down. She's like 5 years old. Caught my daughter sneaking downstairs in order to just peek at the Christmas tree. That's all she wanted to do. She wanted to just look at it. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. So while you're shopping this holiday season, don't forget to get yourself a gift. The gift of a great night's sleep with Helix. The benefits of Helix are numerous. They are an award-winning mattress reviewed by experts from Forbes and Wired. They have an incredible Helix Sleep quiz, which gets you the perfect mattress, free shipping, seamless delivery, happy Helix guarantee, and 120-night sleep trial, limited lifetime warranty. Helix Sleep today, ladies and gentlemen. Go to helixsleep.com/Benny. 27% off site-wide. It's helixsleep.com/Benny. 27% off site-wide. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. There's been some wild disruptions in one of America's fastest growing cities, a city named Charlotte. In Charlotte, we've seen massive ICE raids. There's something remarkable that happens. When you're guilty, you behave in a very special way. You get nervous. And please, Klein, load up all Alex and all this thing. Look at this. Look at this. You ever seen Charlotte like that? Same thing happened in LA. Same thing happened in Chicago. How many criminal aliens do we have in this country? Is this country just like a ship that is carrying the burden of 10, 20, 30, 80 million criminal aliens? Look at what happens to our cities when we begin to enforce our immigration policies. It becomes paradise, in fact. What's happening right now in Charlotte schools is that effectively half the students have evaporated. How much of your tax dollars are going to people who don't pay taxes, who don't belong here? People are videoing construction sites in this red state of North Carolina. There's no one there. Home Depot lots, there's no one there. Lots at Lowe's, there's no one there. What's going on here exactly? ICE is cracking down all across the region and is rounding up criminal aliens. Now, in order to enter a home or domicile, you need to have a warrant. That's correct. It just is. And so, it's your Fourth Amendment right. And so, in order to get the easiest roundup of criminal aliens, you just catch them outside. How about that? And so what's happening is the legal population of Charlotte is staying locked in their homes, thus leading to green traffic everywhere, empty freeways, empty lots, empty schools. It's an indication of how many criminal aliens actually are in the area. What the hell is going on in America's big cities? Joining this program right now, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Whatley, former RNC chair and a man who's running for Senate in the state of North Carolina, to talk about this. Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to keep calling you that. I don't care. You did a great job in 2024. Even if you're a senator, I'll still probably call you Mr. Chairman. I'll just never forget that you were able to stop the fraud in 2024 and give us that incredible election night. So I'll just constantly thank you for that every time you're on the program, Michael. But let's talk quickly about what's going on in Charlotte. It is remarkable to see what a couple of ICE raids do to a municipality. How many criminal aliens live in Charlotte, Michael Whatley?
Way too many. You think about of all of the millions of illegal immigrants that came across the border under Joe Biden, hundreds of thousands of them were admittedly by the Biden administration were criminals and had criminal records. And so, we need to make sure that first off, the border is secure. The president has done an amazing job of getting that done. And the step two is to get the violent criminal illegal aliens out of our country. And that's what he's doing right now. It's a lot harder in North Carolina because my opponent, Roy Cooper, when he was governor, vetoed legislation that would have forced those Democrat sheriffs in places like Raleigh and Charlotte and Durham to actually deport them, to be able to honor ICE the detainers. And so what we have right now are sheriffs who are not honoring ICE detainers. And so that's what forces the president to send in the ICE agents that are doing a sweep right now. At the end of the day, President Trump is cleaning up the streets and doing the job that Roy Cooper should have done when he was the mayor or the governor.
Yes. So the governor is out, effectively same as in Illinois or in California or in New York. The governor of this red state in North Carolina, and I only say that in quotations because it sure as hell is acting like a blue left-wing radical state. Governor's out saying, here's how you avoid federal law enforcement detection in a video. It's crazy. What is it? Isn't this a crime? Isn't this assisting the criminal in an insurrection capacity against federal law enforcement?
Yeah, what we need to do is have a state that's actually going to work with the federal officials, have local officials that are going to work with the federal officials. For anybody to say that they want to keep these violent criminal illegal aliens in their city, that really is a huge problem. And that's exactly what we're looking at right now. We need to have a governor that is actually going to sign legislation that will force the sheriffs to honor ICE detainers. Frankly, we need to have sheriffs that are going to honor the ICE detainers and be able to move this criminal element out of North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, well, clearly these people vote, and clearly they try and rig, they try and rig elections, and they say that, and that's obviously the operation that's going on here. It's obviously the operation that's going on in Texas, is they're trying to flip the red states blue. Now you're from North Carolina. You very famously didn't allow this to happen in 2024 or 2020. How do you prevent what Democrats want to have happen here, which is flood these red states with criminal aliens, naturalize them, and then flip the states permanently purple or blue?
Yeah, President Trump has the right plan, which is first off, secure the border. Second off, get the violent criminal illegal aliens out. And then we will ultimately need to have a guest worker program that works, because there are a lot of jobs where folks need to have, workers, right? And that's not a problem. But you cannot be a sanctuary city. You cannot be a sanctuary state. And it's unfortunate that my opponent for Senate, Roy Cooper, while he was the governor, fought harder for these criminal illegal aliens than he did for his own constituents.
So we have the Heritage election fraud tracker, and you can see here North Carolina is not looking good. We got quite a few cases of election fraud here in the state, most likely and almost guaranteed for people that are going to be voting against you and trying to use large criminal alien populations to vote against you. How are you going to combat this, sir?
Well, what we're going to do is first and foremost make sure that we have the right rules of the road in place before voting starts. It is federal law that you must be a citizen to vote in a federal election, and it is up to the states to enforce it. We're going to make sure that North Carolina enforces that law. We also need the states to clean up their voter rolls, and we need basic protections on mail-in ballots, things like witness requirements and signature requirements, and that we can only have, ballots come in by election day, and that they have to go in through the mail, not through drop boxes. We're going to fight every day for those types of rules. And then we're going to be in the room. We're going to have volunteers and attorneys in every single precinct all across North Carolina. That's what we did back in 2020. That's what we set up nationally at the RNC last year. It really makes a tremendous difference when you have those observers and those attorneys on the ground to act as a deterrent for illegal activity.
How's the race looking right now, Michael?
We're excited. We're very excited right now. North Carolina, we're a purple state. We're 30% Republican, 30% Democrat, 40% unaffiliated. So we know that this is going to be a hard-fought state. But what we're seeing right now is Roy Cooper has a lot of name ID, but half the people that know him don't like him. We are in a position where, with President Trump's support, we've already made sure that we're not going to have a messy primary, and we're able to go after the governor right now and talk about his record. I had a reporter ask me, what is they're going to campaign on his record? What are you going to campaign on? I said, I'm going to campaign on his record as well. The fact that he has vetoed these bills for focusing sheriffs on ICE detainers. He's vetoed bills to keep boys out of girls' sports and men out of women's locker rooms. He has vetoed balanced budgets. He has vetoed tax cuts. He's vetoed teacher pay raise and police pay raises. So we're going to talk about his record every single day, and that is a winning formula in North Carolina.
All right. Well, Godspeed. We really hope that you clean up this great state. I mean, it shouldn't be going this way. It's too bad that it is. Too many college towns in your state. I would probably argue.
Well, no question about it. And when you think about what we need to do positively is make sure that we have an economy that works for everybody. We need to create jobs and raise wages, but then we really need to keep our kids and our communities safe. And that's going to come down to making sure that we have police presence, making sure that we're going to get criminals off of the streets, make sure that we're going to get criminal illegal aliens out of the state. When we can enforce the law, that is the best thing. Roy Cooper, my opponent, as he was marching around the capital of Raleigh during the BLM and Antifa riots with the rioters back in 2020, signed an executive order and said he wanted to reimagine law enforcement in North Carolina. We don't need to reimagine law enforcement. We need to enforce the law. These are the basics that are going to work in my election, and every Republican really needs to focus on keeping our kids and our communities safe.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but then, and here's photos, by the way, of Roy Cooper doing exactly what you're talking about, marching around with BLM. And then the results of that is obviously Irena Zastruka. You know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. DeCarlos Brown had been arrested and released 14 different times under Roy Cooper's soft on crime policies.
Yes.
And I, called on the legislature to pass legislation and roll those soft on crime policies back, which they did. And we can try and get some level of sanity back into, places like Charlotte, places like Raleigh.
Is this guy going to face the death penalty? He's going to face the firing squad?
Well, he absolutely is, because Pam Bondi has announced that they have federal charges and they're going to be seeking the death penalty. Again, another instance of President Trump and his administration working harder to keep North Carolina citizens safe than Roy Cooper did when he was the governor.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. It's a Godspeed to you in this race. We hope that you join us regularly. We do need to keep the Senate. We do need to keep the House. And we need some tough love from, programs like ours against Republicans who are, I think, just frankly blowing it in the Senate and in the House because of a lack of will and a lack of strength. Michael Whatley right here, you should follow him. He's got 100,000 subscribers on X, fighting for the future of the great state of North Carolina. Godspeed.
Great. Thanks, Benny.
So we have something remarkable that is happening right now in our nation. I think we have, and maybe I'm just a little too optimistic here. Maybe not. But I think we have a moment. I think we have a moment where the old ways of doing things are really being laid bare. And you have a generational shift. And that shift doesn't really know a party just yet. I think there's a lot of people that are they don't want what the Democrats are offering. They're not sure about what Republicans are offering. And it's to us. It actually stands to us. The party that can most severely and most effectively gut corruption, expose corruption, present on a platter safety, security for the American people, put criminals in prison from Jeffrey Epstein to DeCarlos Brown Jr., who stabbed and murdered Irena Zastruka. And the only reason we don't know more about this or haven't followed this is that Charlie was killed then the next day. And so left-wing criminal violence on full display, a scourge on our nation, a scar on the face of our nation. The party that solves these things and answers these questions will win the future for a generation. So it's up to us. It's up to us. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have plenty of polling during the midterms, during the midterm elections. We're going to be doing a polling segment right now with Polymarket. Let's go ahead and check what Polymarket has to say about the Epstein files. Will President Trump release the Epstein files by November 19th, 20th, 21st, 30th? Just in time for Christmas. Just don't worry, not going to ruin my Christmas around here. Just in time for Thanksgiving dinner for all of us to scream and yell at each other. We have a very interesting market here. Just small percentages. Betting on whether he will or won't. It looks like the smart money is on releasing them later. Obviously, the compunction of Congress, this vote is in order to force the release right away. That has to go to the DOJ. That owns all of the documents. And as we have said many times, you can't tell the American people no on this stuff. I'm encouraged by it. I'm telling you, I'm encouraged by it. It's something that I've broken with the Trump administration over, but that this has just been totally, it's just the misread of the room. And I think I know why. I think I know why it happened. I think I think I've got it on lock. The reason it happened is a misunderstanding of news and media ecosystems. I'm not saying that anyone was trying to protect Jeffrey Epstein. I've spoken until my voice cracked on my belief that President Trump is innocent here. And the only guilt that President Trump or his administration may have is misreading the room on Jeffrey Epstein and understanding exactly what this moment meant to the American people. And that's because there's a difference in media ecosystems. If you're terminally online, like me, or like our program, you understand what Epstein actually means to be, that Epstein had become a meme. You understand how big this all was, how important this all was to especially a younger generation. And that's what all polling shows. And that's where all this energy is coming from. This is a gift to the young, to tell young people that you're done with the corruption of the old way of doing things, that we protect pedophiles, that we just allow them to go and abuse these young women. It's coded for young people to say that we're going to rip the system down. That's good. Some systems deserve to be ripped down, especially this one. I think that is just a generational misstep, quite frankly, on this. And it has to do with news ecosystems. Because if you're reading the papers or watching TV, you're going to see it very differently. You're going to see the world differently. But if you're online and you're living inside of the ecosystem of like, what was Jeffrey Epstein actually doing? This is so incredibly mysterious. We're going to investigate it within the nth degree. Then you're going to see the actions by the administration saying there's nothing here as extremely insulting. And so that's what happened. You know, that's ultimately what happened here. But can it be reversed? Well, it must be. You don't want what happens next. You don't want what's going to happen with Democrat rule and control of Congress and the Senate. You don't want it. Maybe some people do. Tell you what, there's some Republicans that actually do. I want a continuation of the golden era, ladies and gentlemen. The golden age from Advantage Gold. Whatever you think about the Trump administration in the golden age, well, I can tell you this. Gold has done great. As crypto collapses, as the markets get wobbly, gold just gets stronger and stronger, breaking out to new all-time highs. Americans are waking up to the value of gold in their portfolio. You should move your 401k or IRA or TSP into an IRS-approved strategy. And you can do it tax-free, penalty-free, and you can do it with one of America's #1 ranked precious metal companies. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 right now and leave a voicemail with your email address, and Advantage Gold will send you a gold investment kit, $49 value for free. That's 800-900-8000. Don't wait while the price of gold keeps climbing. Call now and learn how you might be able to profit and help protect your savings with Advantage Gold. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are sad about Scott Jennings. I am pissed, actually, about that. I really wanted to chat with him. It was a perfect topic. We're going to have an internal discussion about how to ensure that the people that are joining our program can do so in a way that is stable. And I hope that we go and rebook him for later on in the week. This is a critical question for our time. Like, does the Republican Party have what it takes to actually boldly and fearlessly defend its voters and deliver for them? The answer to that question in the first approximately year of the Republican Congress is no. The Republican Congress does not have what it takes to fearlessly fight boldly and stand together on behalf of the American people. That sucks. And we should have a hard look at why that is. We'll be looking at exploring all of that. This is not something that we should mess around with. When the Democrats get back in power, they will nuke the filibuster and they will impeach Donald Trump like every single day of the week. They'll bring a new impeachment against Donald Trump. They're already saying it. They'll bring in another 100 million criminal aliens from countries that hate us, and they'll naturalize every single one of them immediately and give them all full voting rights, and they'll flip every single red state purple or blue. And that's the goal. They've made it very clear. This is a generational shot right now to restore the American Republic. What they plan on doing is evil. They play power politics. It's time for us to do the same. We do have a lot to live for, ladies and gentlemen. And we hope that we bring you some Christmas cheer. I'm not a doomer on this program. I just want to set the table for what it is. It's MAGA or Marxism. I want to bring you joy. I want to bring you Christmas joy this Christmas season. And I want to explain to you that your Christmas tree will look so much better with a President Trump official ornament from The Benny Show. Let's freaking go. Come on. Look at this. You get the Trump trash truck. You get the JD Vance. And you get yourself a beautiful Christmas tree. $5 for our ornaments. No inflation around here. No inflation. $5. Same price as they were last year. Except for they're way better than they were last year. Because we have more of them. They're made by veterans. And Klein even has a snazzy video to explain how they were made. Ladies and gentlemen, Klein went out to our ornament making factory yesterday and produced an awesome video. Here it is. Oh, Klein, did you not load your video? Klein made his video and didn't even load it. That's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you get perhaps my favorite, the RFK Jr. glaring at you with his candy cane saying, don't. We got it here, ladies and gentlemen, is what? Okay, this is really good. Okay, great. Oh, all right. Are we getting? Oh no, that's fantastic. All right, Klein, here's our Christmas ornaments greeting. I haven't seen this before, so let's watch it all together for the first time. I told you that we are making it in-house with American veterans. Here's where your Christmas ornaments come from.
Ryan with Direct Merch. We just wanted to give you guys a quick behind-the-scenes view of how we manufacture the ornaments for the Benny shop. So we use high-quality UV printing technology, so the prints will never peel, never become damaged. They'll last, for years to come, and hang nicely on your Christmas tree. First ornament is the Freedom Flag ornament to commemorate a patriot, Charlie Kirk. On the back, put a Bible verse, Matthew 5:10. And this one's truly art. We really love working with Benny. We could have outsourced a lot of this kind of stuff, but instead he chose to utilize a small business like ours who manufacture products right here in America. Another favorite is the JD Vance Say Thank You meme. So we source everything 100% from US manufacturers. We're doing everything 100% in-house and, made in America.
I want to put up, hold on just a second, getting these. We had a late night last night, so here are a few, I'm just going to forward them to you. Here are a couple ornaments from Aaron Adams. The ornaments from Aaron Adams. He says that he doesn't have a Christmas tree up right now, but he's rocking them in the kitchen. It's pretty amazing. So these are Christmas ornaments hanging on the Christmas knobs. These are the knobs on the kitchen. We're gonna be doing shout outs to people's ornaments every single show. It's my favorite time of year. I just love it. I just love it. Email us photos of your ornaments. Get on the show. This is Aaron Adams. He says, I don't have my Christmas tree up yet, so I just tossed them up in my kitchen. Well done, Aaron. This is great. All right, hold on. People have been sending them in. Let's do one more. Here you go, Klein. This one's from Julie Davis. And Julie Davis says, I already had a 250th birthday of the United States tree decorated, and the ornaments were just perfect things to top off the tree. I bought all 12. I have a video that I made of each one on the tree, but it's too long to email. Is there any way to send it to you? It's 1 minute and 26 long. Thank you, Benny and crew, for all that you do. This is from Julie Davis from Danville, Illinois. P.S. I do live in Illinois, but our county is so red. Look at this beautiful tree from Julie Davis. Oh, that's just spectacular. Hey, Klein and ALX, we got to do this at the beginning of each show. I want to do this at the beginning of each show. I want to be able to so just go email me. Just email me. Benny at Benny Johnson. I know it's going to blow up the inbox, but I want you to send me photos of your tree. Make sure that the subject line is Christmas tree. Make sure the subject line is Christmas tree so that we can present your tree and hype your tree on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of raging on this show, so it's good to end on a happy note. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a thing that we do every single day. Boy, sometimes we have some brutal shows, and this was one of them where we just got to stand up for what's right. And it's good to always end on a Christmas tree note and then a verse of the day, which we do every single show. No matter what, you'll get light, you'll get joy, and you will get uplifting from this program through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and the good book here from Ephesians 5:11. Have nothing to do with the fruitlessness deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Everything exposed to the light will become visible. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness. Expose them, the light will become visible. Well, isn't that a perfect verse for today? Go read this to Mike Johnson when he's on the show. We'll see. We expect a angry phone call from his office anytime. But it is what it is. We're not going to lie for no man. No. We got a bigger mission around here. Save the country. And we are going to do it. Marching together onto victory. You and me and this movement. In the end, we win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Guess what, Dan? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what, Dan? Hey. Woo, woo. Why can't I delete 30,000 emails? Because you'd be in jail. Why can't I sell to Russia some yellow cake? Because you'd be in jail. Why can't I have a body count above 230? Because you'd be in jail. I can't launder money through my charity. Because you'd be in jail. But guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day? What day? It is. It's hump day. Get it on.
What difference at this point does it make?
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal reads. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.